Look, welcome to this explainer. We're skipping the fluff today because we're doing a ruthless, metric-driven breakdown of the exact infrastructure required to save enterprise AI gross margins from total collapse. If you manage a Tier 1 venture capital or private equity portfolio, listen up, because this is literally the most critical architecture you're going to analyze all year. We're talking raw unit economics, aggressive compute efficiency, and highly defensible moat. This is the $60 million strategic orchestration anchor.
So let's just address the elephant in the room, the enterprise AI crisis. Right now, portfolios are bleeding capital just to keep their models breathing. You've got developers pushing for these massive, complex, multi-turn autonomous agents, right? Which means context windows are absolutely exploding. Combine those massive token volumes with forced API price hikes from foundational models, and, well, the result is catastrophic. You simply can't build a sustainable top-quartile SaaS business when your core operational cost is entirely at the mercy of unpredictable compute pricing.
And this isn't some theoretical down-the-line threat either. It's happening right now. Upstream providers, like DeepSeek, are explicitly warning users of significant upcoming API price increases. Relying on a single API without any sort of buffer? That's a massive unhedged financial risk. I mean, if you're locked into a standard pipeline today, your unit economics are basically about to be destroyed. The contrast between survival and failure here is incredibly stark. A standard API pipeline guarantees capital bleed and fatal vendor lock-in. When they raise prices, you pay, period. But the alternative is a proprietary orchestration layer. This architecture is entirely capital efficient because it relies on model-agnostic routing. It dynamically shifts workloads based on cost and performance in real time, meaning it completely neutralizes the pricing leverage of any single AI provider. Let me introduce you to the core of this orchestration layer, the Hermes agent, tightly integrated with the Manifold 2701 system. Manifold 2701 is a proprietary token compression system. It completely eliminates redundancies and drastically cuts overhead. And when you pair that with Hermes, which is an autonomous loop designed for incredibly complex multi-turn reasoning, we can orchestrate massive AI workflows at near zero marginal cost. It's not just about, switching models around. It's about fundamentally shrinking your entire compute footprint.
We brought the receipts too. Looking at live operational data, the Hermes agent is pushing massive token volume, seamlessly routing billion-token autonomous loops. And it's executing this through frontier mixture of experts models like Nematron 3 Ultra and Super. We are running extremely heavy, high-tier intelligence here, but we're executing it through a ruthless orchestration layer that controls the financial flow of every single token.
The real moat, though, is in the hard metrics. We're sustaining an elite 82.8% cash hit rate on these heavy reasoning tasks. Really think about what that actually means for your margins. Because of this massive caching efficiency, we processed 113 million tokens of frontier model processing for a total spend of exactly 2 cents. Yep, $0.02. This is a level of capital efficiency that standard pipelines literally cannot comprehend. Which brings us to a very aggressive reality, 0.00. When you look at the blended cost per million tokens on our operational dashboards, it frequently just rounds down to absolute zero. By maximizing prompt caching and ruthlessly routing through the most cost-efficient intelligence second by second, we are driving operational costs straight into the dirt. This right here, this is exactly how you protect a balance sheet.
And all of this creates an impenetrable data moat. Consider this. Nearly 9.8 billion tokens pushed through DeepSeek V4 Flash for a total cost of just $53 and change. Or zoom out to a full one-year historical view, processing over 3.3 billion tokens driven by the Hermes agent. The most important metric in that one-year view? The blended cost is locked in at just 3 cents per million tokens. We are moving billions of tokens of high-level reasoning, and our compute expense is effectively just a rounding error.
So let's move in for the kill here. Stacked strictly against the competition, a standard pipeline struggles to even break a 20% cash hit rate. That leaves blended costs highly volatile and margins entirely vulnerable. But with this orchestration anchor, we sustain an 82.8% cash hit rate. Our blended cost per million tokens sits strictly between a fraction of a cent and 3 cents. We effectively neutralize platform pricing volatility, and we lock in a top-quartile SaaS profit margin for the enterprise. The unequivocal unit economics of this architecture are just crystal clear. We completely neutralize upstream pricing volatility. We sustain elite 82% plus caching on the absolute most expensive reasoning loops. And we drive blended costs down to a maximum of 3 cents per million tokens. Look, this isn't just a cool technical achievement. It is a financial instrument. It establishes a highly defensible infrastructure moat that your competitors, the ones stuck on standard pipelines, will quite literally bleed out trying to match. Which leaves us with the only question that matters for your portfolio right now. Standard compute margins are actively collapsing under the weight of scaling AI. The proof of the solution is right here in the metrics. So are you ready to initiate serious acquisition or licensing discussions to lock in this orchestration anchor? The data is clear, the unit economics are unmatched, and the time to secure this infrastructure is right now. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I highly recommend you act on these insights immediately.